Hey everybody, Stephen Bogran here from Pro Physique. Today I'm going to talk about how to pick shows in the NPC.
My name is Steven, and this is our video about health and fitness things. And I work for Pro Physique, and I am just a guy with a fitness thing for you.
Alright, what's up everybody? Back from vacation officially. Here we are again, mustache included. Oh wow. What a great topic to discuss for us today in terms of how do we pick shows if we're competing in the NPC. And it's a really great question because, you know, it has some layers there in terms of where we're at, have we competed before, what does that look like, what are our goals, and how do we need to go about those. And so I think it's a really great conversation to just kind of get started and to make sure that we're setting you up for success at each part of the process. And so I think the first place to start is obviously for those of us that have maybe never competed. And if that's you and you've never competed, it's not us, I've competed, I'm a liar. But if you've never competed, then what you probably want to look at is finding something that's going to be as convenient for you as possible. As easy to manage, as low risk, as cheap and manageable as you can. Now, there will be some things you don't necessarily want to cheap out on, but if you have a show where your friend lives down the street and you know the venue is going to be right there and it can save you some money on a hotel, beautiful. If you have a show where maybe it's down the street or within driving distance from you, it's 10 or 15 minutes, it's super convenient, it's right there, it's easy, that could be a really good option as a first show. You don't necessarily have to spring the extra cash for a hotel room. You will still have other expenses that you'll want to utilize, but maybe that's the one that really makes the most sense. Now, obviously you still want to give yourself enough time to diet. My general rule of thumb is we can look at your height and your category and generally have a good estimation of what our stage weight will be, and we want to give ourselves roughly a week per pound of body fat that we're going to need to lose. That's going to give us the opportunity to, one, keep as much muscle as we possibly can during the process, but two, also give us maybe a little bit more time than we need. That way we can have time for diet breaks, we can have time for stalls, and for doing things the right way, not necessarily rushing. I know a lot of people get into 12-week preps on their first shows, but we still want to make sure, even if it's our first show, and even if we're just looking at a local show, that's still a big task. And it's still a lot of time investment, money investment, and life investment in that goal. So we want to make sure that it's something we really feel good about what we're bringing to stage. So, keeping in mind, what shows should we do? Well, the convenient one that's closest to you will help to drop some of the costs, and that can be a really big benefit. For newer competitors, I would say we almost certainly still want to have somebody else doing our tan. And if you're like me and you're here in the Tampa area or the Florida area, Hotspot does a lot of the tans here and they do a really good job. The reason I say that is it saves you from having to worry about it. You show up, you get sprayed, they dry you, they take care of any touch-ups, they take care of any glazing, they take care of all of your applications, and it makes it very, very easy. It makes it stress-free. For a lot of us, that first show is a very stressful situation. So anything that we can do to remove extra stress from that situation will help us to be more successful and hopefully help us to do better. Obviously, yes, you want to be working on your posing, you want to be working on your stage presence, but hair and makeup can also be another big one. Now, hair and makeup, generally speaking, I recommend for competitors of all level, unless you're just really, really good at it. I am not good at doing makeup, so I don't use makeup, but you know what I mean. There can be really good makeup artists, and a lot of them are located maybe even around you, and maybe they were traveling for shows. So if you're doing a smaller show, one of the better known makeup artists might not be there. But you can still show your current makeup artist pictures of what their makeup tends to look like. Carolyn posted on Instagram is one. Makeup by V is another one. Makeup by Joey is another one. If you're in Europe, I think it's Celine Grand does a pretty good job on makeup. So there are really good makeup artists out there, and you can always show them, say, hey, this is what I would like my makeup to look like, and they can kind of make that work in terms of your skin tone and the palette and how they're doing things, right? If your hair is just going to be straight, maybe that's an easy thing that you can do on your own. Cool. If you want to do something special with your hair, again, save yourself the stress. Maybe it makes sense to allow someone else to do it. Now, that will come with a cost. However, that cost may be worth it for peace of mind. knowing that you're not going to have to worry about that. And one of the other peace of mind things that you want to keep in mind is your suit. Now, there's a lot of different options for what you can do for your suit. If you're not sure that you're going to be in this for the long haul, you may even want to just rent a suit. And there are plenty of suit rental companies that you can utilize that will save you that large initial cost of buying your own suit. And again, that kind of takes some of the stress off, takes some of the pressure off. You know that the suit's going to look great. You've seen it on other people. All right, awesome. You can obviously get your own suit. However, with suits, one of the things I normally recommend is that it's kind of an investment. So if you're just kind of testing the waters and you're not quite sure yet, it may be a better idea to rent a suit as you're getting started, okay? Now, okay, what about for those of us that are like, hey, we've done this before. We know the drill. We want nationals. We're nationals. Okay, well, first and foremost, you're going to have to qualify. So unless you're already qualified, which you may or may not be, you will need to qualify, which means going to a regional show that is a national qualifier and topping and placing top 2 in your classes at this point in time again, okay? Top 2. Woo! So, make sure you come in ready. Come in ready to slay. Make sure your conditioning is on point. Make sure your muscularity is there. Make sure your posing is on point. All those kinds of good things. For you, you may not have the same kind of options that a first-time competitor may have. You may need to be moving or like traveling to a specific spot to get a national qualifier. So get your qualifications. And this will change, obviously, the financial investment that you have to make with that. So be aware of that. Make sure you have the money in the bank. Make sure that you're comfortable with that and you know what these costs are going to entail. Now, once we've gone to our national qualifier and we've gotten qualified, there's a couple questions that we can have of how we want to do that. We can just go to a national qualifier, get qualified, and show up to nationals, and that can absolutely be fine. What I like to do is say, okay, well, where do we want to be in nationals? Because if we just want to do a national level show, it probably doesn't matter. Do you want to come into a national level show with the best chance of first callouts and a pro card? Now, that absolutely changes what we need to do. Because at this point, we probably want to make sure that we are picking shows that are going to allow us to get feedback from the judges who will be judging at nationals. And this comes with knowing the circuit a little bit, understanding how things work, and being informed enough as to where those judges are going to be. Generally speaking, if you pick a show that has a pro show attached for your division, so for bikini, any bikini pro show or pro-am with bikini, you're going to get a high-level, pro-level, national-level judge there head judging that show, which means you are going to get the exact same feedback that they would be giving you at nationals. The reason this can be so helpful is because what it allows us to do is get that feedback before nationals so that we can then make those changes, doing everything that we can for our personal physique to bring in the most competitive physique that we have possible. Okay? So it absolutely does matter, and I would argue it matters a lot. If you are on this national level stage and you are trying to compete for a pro card and first callouts and to make it into the IFBB Pro League, you need to probably be aware of who's going to be judging you and what shows you are going to be doing before nationals. Now, on top of that, you also want to consider what national shows do you want to do. Do you want to have a couple of opportunities? Okay, and what does your schedule look like? No, these are really important things. I normally like to have people compete over the summer. Now there's a few reasons, but mostly because people do a better job reversing in and out of the summer, I found, than during the holidays, where you have all of the American holidays with very large meals and a lot of opportunities to overeat. So that's a big one for me. I also find that most people have a little bit more free time during that because they don't have the same obligations in terms of family and holidays and those kind of things. But say your summer is very busy. Cool, we have options towards the end of the year. We can maybe start with North Americans, and that's going to be later on, or we can look at Miami NPC Nationals that used to be in Miami, and possibly an Amateur Olympia show. And that would be later on in the year, towards the end of the year. So depending on your schedule, you always want to look at what's going to give you the most opportunities. So most of the national shows are over the summer months. and how our life is going to fit into that. Are we moving over the summer? Hey, we probably don't need to prep during the summer. Moving is one of the top 10 most stressful things that we experience in life. And so we don't necessarily need to add more stress on top of that with a prep, or to have that as a thing we have to now navigate during the prep. And everyone's a little bit different. So we do want to look at what does our life situation look like? Do we know that quarter end in first quarter is really, really busy? Maybe we need to wait until after that before we start dieting. Maybe we need to wait till after that before we get aggressive or we utilize more cardio. So remember that it's not only just picking shows for how you want to go about your competition career, but it's also understanding that your life and all of your life situations are going to also make a huge impact on your success in that competition career, or they can make a really huge impact. So I hope these things help out a bit. Hope there are some nice things that maybe we weren't thinking about, but we are now. And I hope you guys have a great day. We'll talk soon.